During Coach Bryant's first 6 seasons as Alabama's head coach, the Crimson Tide had won a national championship, an SEC championship, and his first group of seniors, the 61 class, finished their careers with an astonishing 29-2-2 record. The 1962 and 63 years were almost as good. If not for a controversial 1-point loss to Georgia Tech, the 62 team would have played for another national title. The 1963 season was more of the same. Alabama dropped 2 games by a total of 6 points. The first defeat was a 1-point loss to the Florida Gators. Those 6 Bama teams had set the bar high for the future, and the 1964 team believed it could live up to the expectations. But before they could reach that lofty goal, they must avenge the 1-point heartbreaking loss to the Gators and its gunslinging quarterback, Steve Spurrier. So on a cool, sunny homecoming Saturday in Tuscaloosa, Coach Bryant would take his duo of quarterbacks and turn the memory of that 1-point upset loss into a Crimson classic. Hi, I'm Gary Harris. Welcome to Crimson Classics. The 1964 team was ranked number 4 in the preseason poll, with 21 starters coming back, including quarterback Joe Namath. But Coach Bryant, who would later call this one of his favorite teams, was worried about their inexperience. Bryant in the 64 media guide stated this, quote, "Actually, we don't have a lot of experienced football players. We have a few boys who have played a lot. Most of our lettermen have seen just enough playing time to earn a letter, and that's all," unquote. Certainly, Coach Bryant was the master of downplaying the attributes of his team, but you better believe he knew what each player could do, and he could get the best out of those players, and he expressed that to them.
I didn't realize until later in my life when I began coaching just exactly what went through Coach Bryant's mind.
64 was I think the team that was built up to be a run for the national title anyways.
Coach Bryant's first statement was, he said that if you will stay here and you'll work hard and do what you're supposed to do, you'll be national champions before you leave.
Our philosophy, our reason for playing and practicing and everything that we did was to win the national championship.
Coach Bryant also believed in a tough off-season program.
The off-season program was probably tougher than the practices during season.
I think you can win 2 or 3 games in the fall, in the off-season, and Coach Bryant did too, and he sold me on it. You can get stronger, faster, quicker, learn a little bit more discipline going through the off-season programs. But were they fun? No, they weren't fun. They were hell.
There was an old gym above the coaches' offices. They would turn the heat up where it was already hot, but it'd be 100 and something degrees in there. In 45 minutes to an hour, you would go 3 or 4 different stations. And I've seen people and myself not be able to walk out of that gym when it was over with. Well, I don't believe there was another conditioning program anywhere in the country that did what we did in the off season.
Everything in the off season, all the work was for endurance, for quickness, mental toughness, oneness within a team or within a group. We were like Marines. We were brainwashed. Everybody believed in what we were doing. They believed in the coaches. They believed in the offense, the defense. We were an extension of Coach Bryant's way of thinking.
As the season started, the 4th-ranked Crimson Tide would take on the Georgia Bulldogs with only one healthy, experienced quarterback. With his hand still in a cast, Steve Sloan was not available. So sophomore running back Wayne Trimble was moved over to the number 2 quarterback spot behind Namath. Having only one experienced quarterback to start the season is troublesome, but when the one you have is Joe Willie, that ain't bad. In front of a sold-out Denny Stadium, Namath ran for 3 touchdowns, Hudson Harris added another, and David Ray kicked a 27-yard field goal to give Alabama a convincing 33-3 win over the Bulldogs. Unfortunately for the Tide, backup quarterback Wayne Trimble was injured during the Georgia game and would be sidelined for 2 to 3 weeks. So that left just Namath against the Green Wave of Tulane. Traveling to Mobile's Ladd Stadium, Namath and the Tide piled up 380 total yards and scored 36 points. But 29 of those were icing on the cake as Wayne Freeman, Dan Curley, Ron Bird, and the rest of the Bama D stuffed the Green Wave for a measly 6 points and just 25 yards rushing. The next game was more of the same, with the defense holding Vanderbilt scoreless while the offense scored 24 points and rolled up 300 yards. During the 24-0 victory over the Commodores, Namath threw for 2 touchdowns, which gave him a career total of 24, breaking the Alabama record held jointly by Harry Gilmer and Ed Salem. Namath setting an Alabama record wasn't the only good news coming out of the Vanderbilt game. Backup quarterback Steve Sloan saw some action as well and seemed recovered from his injury. With Steve Sloan returning from injury, Bama's quarterback position had some depth. Up next, the Wolfpack of North Carolina State and a truly classic turn. With Tennessee looming the following week, Alabama was hosting North Carolina State at Legion Field on a warm October afternoon, and things were going exactly as planned until.
We were playing North Carolina State, and he ran an option play and just cut it back in. Never touched, never was hit and tore his knee up.
He ran the ball around right in. His knee just gave way. Nobody hit him.
And if he hadn't hurt his knee, I believe Joe would have won the Heisman Trophy.
Well, we had a lot of confidence in Steve Sloan. And Coach Bryant said he might have been the most accurate passer he'd ever seen.
Steve was just a winner. I don't think we really missed a beat, when Joe got hurt and Steve came in.
With Namath out, Sloan led the Tide to a 21-0 victory over North Carolina State. But there was no time to rest because next week is the 3rd Saturday in October. Alabama traveled to Knoxville and before 49,000 fans handled the Vols 19-8. Later in the second quarter, Wayne Cook blocked a punt and Galen McCullough picked it up and ran 22 yards for an Alabama score, giving the Tide a 16-0 halftime lead. Bama added a 23-yard field goal in the fourth, and with its 19-8 victory, the Crimson Tide extended its winning streak over the Big Orange to 4 in a row. With the win over the Vols, Alabama was now 5-0. The next opponent for the second-ranked Crimson Tide was the team that may have cost them a shot at the national championship in 1963, the Florida Gators. The Gators were also having a great season, undefeated and ranked number 9 in the country. One big reason for Florida's success was Tennessee native Steve Spurrier. The 1966 Heisman Trophy winner and first-team All-American was as much a great field leader as he was a talented passer. During his 3 years as Florida's starting quarterback, the Gators finished with a 14-4 league record, and they contended for the SEC championship in each of those 3 years. The 14-4 mark was the best 3-year win-loss record in Gators history to that point. It's homecoming on campus, and you could not ask for a more glorious day. The teams take the field, and the Tide is kicking off to the Gators. David Ray boots it to the goal line, and the Gators return it to the 24. Sophomore Steve Spurrier tosses to Larry Dupree, who picks up 4 before Tim Bates and Mickey Andrews make the tackle. Dupree tries the other side and finds a hole for 8 yards. Nice lead block by the future Heisman Trophy winner. Tackles made by Bama's Creed Gilmer. This time it's John Feber with the carry, but no luck for the Gators around the left side as Bama's Dan Curley and a host of others bring him down for a loss of 2. Toss sweep to Dupree again, this time a pickup of 7. Steve Sloan and John Mosley make the tackle. That's right, that was all SEC quarterback Steve Sloan on the tackle. In 1964, players still played both ways, and Steve was a valuable player on both sides of the football. On 3rd and 5, Spurrier keeps and is short of the first down. Ron Bird and future New York Jet Paul Crane make the tackle. No surprise, Spurrier does it all, including punting for the Gators, and he nails this one all the way down inside the Bama 10-yard line. Bama now from its own 8. Namath hands to Hudson Harris for a gain of 1. Namath hands to bruising Steve Bowman, who runs up the middle for maybe a yard, bringing up 3rd and long. Coach Bryant decides to punt the football on 3rd down, and Buddy French booms it 66 yards. A great punt and great hustle by Bama's Creed Gilmer, who stops the return before it can get started. Florida's football at its own 34. On Florida's second possession, it's Dupree for 2 yards. Senior Dan Curley with another tackle. Spurrier shows a little speed as he takes off for the first down of the game. From Florida's 48, it's Dupree to the left, but the Bama D is there for no gain. Watch the replay. It looks like Dupree has a hole, but Jimmy Wheeler fights off a block and makes the stop. Spurrier attempts the game's first pass. Bama applies some pressure, and he overthrows the receiver. Spurrier gives to the slot back Alan Poe, but Paul Crane does a great job tripping him up for a loss of 1. Florida will have to punt. Spurrier to punt for the second time in the first quarter, and it's another good one. The ball rolls down to the Alabama 11. So close to his own end zone, Coach Bryant plays it safe. Bowman up the middle for 5. From the 16, Namath and Bowman have trouble with the handoff. Fumble. Luckily, Namath falls on it. For the second straight possession, Bama punts on 3rd down. French doesn't get as much on this one, and the Gators have good field position, starting on the Tide's 41. Unbalanced line to the left, Spurrier pitches it to Eufaula, Alabama's Alan Trammell, but the Tide's Bill Tugwell keeps him moving sideways until the Friends arrive, and it's a loss of 3. It's 2nd and long. Spurrier's back to pass, but Bird is there to trip him up for another 3-yard loss. Spurrier back to pass. Again, the Tide defenders apply pressure, forcing him to throw it away and bringing up 4th down. With the first quarter close to ending, it's been all defense and special teams. And Florida's special teams does it again. Spurrier pooch kicks it to the Bama 8. When we return to Crimson Classics, it's Alabama's ball inside its own 10-yard line. Alabama begins its 3rd possession of the game inside its own 10-yard line. So far, all of the Tide's possessions have started deep in their own territory. Bowman up the middle for 4 yards. Namath hands to Hudson Harris for 2. Namath hits Tommy Tollison on a slant for the first down. Bama's first down of the game. Namath again to the air, and he finds Ray Ogden for 18 yards. Bowman up the middle for 4 yards. On 2nd down, Hudson Harris picks up a couple. On 3rd and 4, Namath on a keeper. Looks like he has the first down, but fumble. The Gators recover, and it gets worse for Bama. On the play, Namath re-injures his knee and is out of the game. On the last play of the first quarter, Spurrier hands to Dupree for 2 yards. To start off the second quarter, Spurrier passes to Big Randy Johnson for 12 yards and a Gators first down. Nice pass by Steve. Steve Spurrier would win the Heisman in 1966, and for the 3 years he quarterbacked the Gators, he led them to an impressive 14-4 SEC record. Toss sweep to Dupree for a big gain. Mosley on the tackle. After the Namath fumble, Bama is back on its heels. Spurrier hands to Feber, who bulls his way for another Gators first down. Inside the Tide's 15 now. Bama's Curley and Gilmer corral Dupree for a short gain. This time it's an option to the right side. Spurrier pitches it to Dupree, who picks up 4 before Mickey Andrews makes the stop. It's a huge third down play for both teams. Spurrier rolls left. Bama gets pressure, but he finds Randy Johnson in the end zone. Touchdown Gators. After the PAT, it's Florida 7, Alabama nothing. Alabama is reeling. Wayne Trimble bobbles the kickoff, and he only gets out to the 12-yard line. Another poor starting point for the Tide offense. Steve Sloan in now at quarterback for the injured Namath, and his first play under center is a handoff to Harris, who picks up 6. Sloan keeps it on second down and rolls right for 3. It's third and short for the Tide. Sloan follows Jimmy Fuller and Galen McCullough. Nice job by the right side of the offensive line. First down, Bama. From the 23 now, it's fullback Les Kelly for a couple. Sloan looks to pass but takes off instead, picking up 5 yards to the Bama 30. Nice play by the young QB. Harris takes the pitch and spins his way to the first down. Les Kelly to the right side for a gain of 2. Sloan rolls right. The right-hander tosses it to Wayne Cook. Cook slips past the Gator defender, and it's a nice 23-yard gain. As we watch this play again, this is Alabama's first possession inside Florida territory. Again, Sloan to pass. This time he finds David Ray for 6 yards. On second down, it's Harris for another Bama first down. Sloan to pass on first down, but he overthrows his intended receiver. Sloan steps back in the pocket. He has time and finds Tommy Tollison for 12 yards and another Crimson Tide first down. Look at the time Sloan's offensive line gave him to find the receiver. This time it's Florida that's on its heels as Sloan keeps it around the right side for 7. Another great blocking job, but this time the blocking was done by the backs. Now Tarrant City native Hudson Harris on the carry, but Florida stiffens, no gain. Sloan pitches to Harris, but he comes up short of the first down. Instead of taking the sure 3, Bryant goes for it. Sloan hands to Harris, who follows Ray and Fuller for the first down. First and goal, Bama. Will Alabama be able to put it in the end zone? We'll find out when Crimson Classics returns. It's first and goal for the Tide as we return to the 1964 Alabama-Florida game here on Crimson Classics. From the Florida 8, Sloan heads right, makes a nice move and picks up 4 yards. Sloan keeps again, this time to the left and to the goal line. Now from the goal line, Sloan hands off to Bowman, who goes over the top. Touchdown, Alabama. What a great drive for the Tide. 88 yards in 19 plays, plus Bama used up 9 minutes of the clock. Florida's Dupree returns the kickoff to the 29. Kicker David Ray makes the tackle. Spurrier scrambles to the right, tries to get outside, but Bama's John Sullivan forces him back inside, a gain of only 3. On second down, Spurrier tosses it to Dupree, who makes it around the left end and picks up 12. With the clock under 2 minutes until halftime, Spurrier goes back to pass, but decides to run instead, picking up 8. Good decision by Spurrier, the player, and his ability to think quick would certainly help him become a coaching legend. On second and short, Florida attempts a pass, but Bama's Charlie Stevens is there and almost makes the interception. Third down, Florida. Dupree sweeps right for 4 yards in the first down. Bird and Andrews combine on the stop. Spurrier attempts another pass, but great Bama pressure forces him to throw it away. With the clock winding down, Coach Graves at least wants an opportunity to kick a field goal. So Spurrier attempts another pass. But he overshoots his target, and Bama's Frank Canterbury is Johnny on the spot with the pick. Canterbury makes a nice run back too, but the officials rule his knee down at the Bama 25. Now that was a huge play by the Bama defense, putting pressure on Spurrier, forcing the hurried pass and killing the Florida drive. With the game tied, Coach Bryant decides to play it safe and let Steve Sloan keep it to finish out the first half. As we watch Colonel Butler direct the $1 Million Band, here are the first half stats. Bama receives the kickoff. Ray Ogden finds a hole and makes his way out to the 30. This is Bama's best starting point of the game. Sloan keeps on the first play of the third quarter. It looks like it might be a big game, but a Florida defender grabs the face mask and stops him for only a gain of 2. Now, the face mask penalty was established in 1957, but until the multi-face bar helmets became popular, very few face mask penalties were actually called. From Bama's 32, again, Sloan on a keeper. This time he gains 7, brings up a 3rd and 1. Sloan fakes the handoff to Harris and keeps around the right end. Looks like he might pick up the first down, but Sloan fumbles the football. Luckily, he recovers, but the Tide doesn't get the needed first down. Bama's Buddy French to punt. Florida's Trammell looks like he might break it long, but Jimmy Fuller makes a great tackle, bringing him down at the Florida's 39. Spurrier tosses it to Poe, but Tollison is there for the stop. On 2nd and 8, there's a mix-up in the Florida backfield, and the football is on the ground. It's loose. Florida recovers, but sets up a 3rd and long. On 3rd and 10, Spurrier drops back to pass, and he finds Charlie Casey open for 21 yards and a big Gators first down. Dupree sweeps right for a gain of 6. A mix-up in the Florida backfield, and Spurrier has to keep it. He still manages to gain 3 yards before Gilmer and Sullivan make the tackle. Needing only a yard for the first down, the Gators keep it on the ground. But Bama Sullivan is there to stop Dupree. No gain. Inside Bama's 30, Florida's coach Ray Graves decides to go for it. Spurrier sneaks it over left guard for the first down. A gutsy call on 4th and 1. Instead of attempting the sure field goal, Florida is going for the touchdown. Let's see if Spurrier and company can make the gamble pay off when we return to Crimson Classics. Florida is inside Alabama's 30-yard line and on the move. A touchdown for the Gators this late in the third quarter, and this defensive struggle could be huge. Let's see if the Tide can stop the Gators as we return to Crimson Classics. Florida's Dupree gets the toss and gains 3. Florida's workhorse Larry Dupree had the Bama defense running all over the field.
Larry Dupree was a tailback, and I chased him all afternoon. I don't think I ever caught him.
Dupree again, and as you can see, Gilmer is chasing him again. This time, Gilmer and Tim Bates catch him, but not before the shifty Dupree picks up 3. From Bama's 22, Spurrier moves left. He's looking to pass, but he takes off. Looks like he's going to make the first, but McCullough makes a big hit and stops him short of the first down. Another huge 4th down for the Gators. Spurrier hands it to the big fullback Feber, who follows great blocking and picks up more than enough for the first down. This time the Bama D makes the big play as Sullivan and Frank McClendon sack Spurrier. But it's Viger High School's Paul Crane who forced the Gators quarterback inside, loss of 1 on the play. Spurrier to pass, and he finds Don Knapp for a gain of 6. David Ray makes the tackle. It's 3rd and 4 now from inside the Bama 10. Spurrier keeps it for another Gators first down. Spurrier hands it off to fullback John Feber for the touchdown. What an impressive drive by the Gators. 15 plays, 61 yards that included 2 4th down conversions. Coach Spurrier would have been proud of the quarterback Spurrier. Gators go back on top 14-7. Ogden takes the Florida kickoff and returns it out to the Alabama 29. Sloan to Harris for 3 yards. On 2nd down, Sloan floats left, finds sophomore Wayne Cook for 12 big yards. That's Sloan's first pass completion of the second half. Sloan attempts another pass, and it might have worked for big yardage were it not for 6'3" Lynn Matthews, who deflected the football. Back to the ground game on 2nd down, and it's Les Kelly for 11 yards and a first down. From Florida's 45, Bama sets an unbalanced line to the left. Sloan fires the ball to David Ray, but Ray can't pull it in. With the clock moving under 2 minutes in the third quarter, Sloan keeps on the option for 4. It's a possession down for the Tide. Sloan back to pass, and he finds Petal, Mississippi's Ray Perkins for 16 yards and the crucial first down. Nice catch by the future Bama head coach. Bowman tries the right side for a gain of 2 yards. A mix-up in the Tide backfield. Sloan hangs onto the football, but loses 3 on the play. From the Gators 25, it's 3rd and long. Sloan looking to pass, fires, and it's intercepted. Florida's Jack Card comes up big for the Gators, stopping Bama's drive. As the third quarter comes to an end, Florida Spurrier keeps for no gain. The turnover killed a 9-play, 47-yard drive that could have tied the football game. Tough break for the Tide. The tough break in the 63 Florida game wasn't a turnover.
The year before that, the 63 team, Florida beat us 10-6 in that Florida game. Larry Dupree ran a 76-yard touchdown to beat us. And in that game, I hit Dupree. The first man hit him, broke the line, hit him. Didn't lock my arms. He got loose. So he crossed the line. I think it was Paul Crane hit him. He bounced off the ball, and then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, either Hudson Harris or Mickey Andrews hit him. And he went on to score. And in our sessions after that, when we were studying film, Coach Bryant ran that play back 32 consecutive times.
Florida, at that particular time, before we played them, had a tremendous football team. They had come to Bryant-Denny and had won the football game, and that was the first time we'd lost a home game, and I couldn't tell you when.
And it was the first ball game that any Coach Bryant team had lost in any stadium. That record stood for 25 years, that Coach Bryant did not lose another game up until his last year in '82. The Florida game meant a lot to us to try to redeem ourselves for that loss.
Earning redemption might start with a 3-and-out for the Tide. Spurrier hands to fullback Feber for a gain of 2. From the Florida 30, Bama takes a chance, and linebacker Tim Bates shoots the gap and sacks Spurrier for a big loss. What a big play for the Bama D, 4th down Florida. One of Coach Stallings' favorite sayings, which of course he learned from Coach Bryant.
In every ball game, it doesn't make any difference. There's 3 or 4 plays that's going to make a difference between whether or not you win or whether you lose.
There, like I say, there's always a handful of, plays that make the difference.
It was installed in us that there are 5 to 7 plays in a ball game that will make the difference, and that we need to come out with 3 or 4 of them, whether it be a fumble, an interception, anything that will change the momentum of the game.
Bates' sack was certainly a game changer, but now the Tide has to keep the momentum going. Spurrier back to punt for the Gators. Mosley catches it on the 29 and cuts upfield. Watch the great block by Mickey Andrews. Mosley has a gap, and the sophomore from Thomaston carries it down to the Florida 34-yard line. My goodness, that was a big play.
I saw Johnny making a break.
I remember that we had the return on, and they kicked the ball, and it went to almost the right hash mark. So I took the ball and went right, and one of their guards turned sideways, and I cut behind him and picked up some blocks.
That punt return that John Mosley made in that ball game was one of those plays. But the punt return set up the whole thing. And that's how big that play was. It was as big, almost, as the touchdown run, because it put us in position to do that.
2 big game-changing plays in a row. Can Bama keep it up? We'll find out when the 1964 Alabama-Florida game returns here on Crimson Classics. Down by 7 with less than a quarter to go. Can Bama pull out the victory? Let's find out as we return to the exciting ending of this 1964 SEC Showdown. On first down, it's the bruising Steve Bowman up the middle for 4 yards. It's Bowman up the middle again. But this time he's got some help from McCullough and Fuller. Bowman has a hole, and the Mississippi native rumbles 28 yards for 6.
Bowman was a runner that he only gave you elbows, shoulder, or knee to hit. That's the only place you could hit him. And those aren't good places to try to hit somebody, especially like Bowman.
Steve was a hard runner. He made a magnificent straight line run for 30 or 40 yards.
I broke the play over the left side. And when I did, I met Jack Card, and they called him Wild Card. I met him and passed him in the hole where our guys had blocked. And he ran right past me. And when I ran past him, there wasn't anyone else between me and the goal line.
But in typical Alabama fashion, Steve Bowman shares the credit for his touchdown with his Tide teammates.
But the punt return set up the whole thing. And that's how big that play was. It was as big, almost, as the touchdown run.
Florida starts its next drive with a toss to Dupree for 4 yards. Feber gets the handoff, but Curley and Bird are there for no gain. From the Gators' 23-yard line, Spurrier to the air and finds Charlie Casey open up the sideline. First down, Florida. On first down, it's Feber for 5 yards. Spurrier on a keeper, he picks up 3. It's a possession down for the Gators, and Spurrier hands it to the big fullback, who bulls his way for the first down. From midfield, Spurrier keeps left, then cuts back right and rumbles for 7 yards. We think of Steve as a passer, but he could run it too. Florida and the clock are both moving as Spurrier hands to Feber, but this time Crane stops him for a gain of just 1. Big play here, 3rd and short and all tied up. Spurrier hands it to Dupree, who's had a nice game, but Bama Sullivan and Gilmer are there for the stop this time. No gain and punting time for the Gators. Bama starts from its own 20. Sloan hands to Bowman, who drives for 9 big yards. The replay shows just how low and hard number 30 runs. If something or someone is working, why change? That was the Bryant philosophy. It's a toss sweep to Bowman for 11 yards. On first down, Bowman picks up a couple. It's Bowman again, this time around left end for 4 more yards. Coach Bryant is working the clock as much as he's working Bowman. It's a possession down for the Tide. Sloan floats to the right side looking for a receiver, and he finds Montgomery's Wayne Cook, who jukes the first would-be tackler, then drags the next one for 20 yards, and it's a first down, Alabama. Inside Florida territory now, it's Kelly following a great block by Ron Derby and picking up 6 yards. With the clock down to under 6 minutes, Sloan keeps for another first down. On the 8th play of the drive, Sloan hands to Kelly. It's a gain of 4. Inside the red zone with the clock moving, it's Kelly for another Crimson Tide first down. This time it's Hudson Harris off tackle for a yard. Sloan options to the right. He pitches it to Les Kelly. Kelly cuts back inside and gets down to the Florida 4. On 3rd and 3, Sloan, play action. He just misses Harris at the goal line. Alabama has to bring on the field goal unit. David Ray to attempt a 20-yarder. And David Ray is clutch. It's good, and for the first time in the game, Bama has the lead, 17-14. But this one ain't over yet. After the touchback, Spurrier over the middle for 16 yards. Spurrier backpedals as Dupree floats out of the backfield. It's a perfect pass for 19 yards, and Dupree goes out of bounds to stop the clock. You can see why Spurrier is a member of the Heisman Club.
He was very confident. I mean, he had control of that football team. You could see when they went in the huddle, he ran the huddle, he ran the players, he knew what he wanted to do.
He was everything that they said he was going to be. He could throw the football. He was mobile. He was a good competitor.
With the clock stopped, Spurrier finds Charlie Casey along the left sideline for another Florida first down. But this time, Bama keeps the receiver in bounds. From Alabama's 25, Florida has plenty of time to score. Spurrier drops back to pass, but this time Alabama's defense is there. Mike Hopper forces Spurrier back inside, then Sullivan and Jim Simmons bring him down for a 5-yard sack. It looks like Alabama might have another sack, but again, Spurrier shows you why he's an All-American as he passes it to Don Knapp, who might score. But a great tackle by Paul Crane and John Mosley saved the day for Alabama. Now the Gators are starting to run out of time, and on this first down play, Bama's Tommy Tollison is in the Florida backfield before Spurrier can get set. Spurrier is forced to run, and Dan Curley lays the wood to the old ball coach, and the clock keeps on ticking. Alabama's defensive front is starting to control the Gators' offensive line, so Spurrier runs a draw to the 6. Florida is inside the Bama 6 with under a minute. If the Gators don't score on the play, they at least need a first down, or Florida will have no time to rush the special team unit onto the field and attempt a tying field goal. Spurrier hands to Feber, but Creed Gilmer fights off his blocker and stops the momentum of the big fullback. Then Bama's Bates and Mosley finish Feber off. A loss of a yard, no first down, and the Gators can't stop the clock. The second-string quarterback, Jimmy Hall, is also the place kicker. He has to hurry onto the field to attempt the 25-yarder for the tie. Bama gets pressure, and he pushes it way right. Not even close. Bama gets revenge. The Tide wins. What a football game. 3 great quarterbacks, a slew of tough running backs, and 2 terrific defenses. The result, Alabama 17, Florida 14. The homecoming victory over the Gators would help solidify Alabama in the race for the 1964 National Championship and set into motion one of the great 3-year spans in college football history. But that's for another time and another edition of Crimson Classics. For the Paul W. Bryant Museum, I'm Gary Harris.